What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, as every Detroit Lions fan knows, the defense was the major issue last year. I think we've all heard the stat that if the Detroit Lions were able to hold on to their fourth quarter leads, they would have gone 10-6 and made the playoffs. I mean, we had the worst ranking pass defense last year, and the run defense was not very good either. And, if we want to be competitive next season, if we want to be competitive in the 2020 season and beyond, we need to play better defense. Now, will that happen next year is obviously an opinion that everybody can have, and everybody will have a different opinion on this subject. Personally, I think they will. I think they will have a better defense, and in this video, I'm going to tell you the top 10 reasons I think the Detroit Lions defense will be so much better in the 2020 season. But before we get into that, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying the content, consider liking the videos and subscribe to the channel. It takes 2 seconds out of your day to make mine. I would be very, very appreciative to everybody that does so. So just go down below and click that one button, that subscribe button, and it would make my day. But with that being said, let's get into talk about the top 10 reasons the Detroit Lions defense will be much better in 2020. Now, when I say the Detroit Lions defense is going to be better, I don't just mean that they're going to be better because it's hard to get worse. I mean, they're going to get significantly better. They're not going to have a bottom 10 pass defense. They're not going to have a bottom 10 rushing defense. Will it be at the top of the league? Will it be a top 10 defense? Probably not. And I don't think the Detroit Lions need a top 10 defense to be competitive. I just think they need something middle of the pack. If they can get around 15th, right? If they can get around average in the NFL, I think we will be very, very competitive next year with our pass offense that is proven and our run offense that, is looking on paper to be much better than we've had since Matthew Stafford's been the quarterback. But today we're going to focus on the defense. I think the defense needs to be better next season. Like I said, it doesn't have to be elite, but it needs to be better. Now, the first reason that I think the Detroit Lions defense is going to be much better in 2020 is because we have a new defensive coordinator. We have Corey Unlin. Now, I know that Matt Patricia has his teeth in the defense. This is his thing. He's going to be calling, most likely, he's going to be calling the plays. He's going to be coaching them how to do things his way. But I do think Corey Unlin still has a role. I mean, you don't sign Corey Unlin, if you don't want him to coach the defense, if you don't want him to be a defensive coordinator. They chose him for a reason, and even though Matt Patricia is still going to have a heavy influence on the defensive play calling and the way that they're coached, I mean, it just seems like Corey Unlin is a very smart guy. He's the defensive backs coach from Philadelphia, or that's what he did last year, and the Detroit Lions brought in a lot of new defensive backs this year. So I think they did that I think they signed Corey Unlin to help with the defensive backs, help them grow, help them transition to the Detroit Lions scheme, but also transition to the NFL for a lot of the younger cornerbacks on this roster. And, I think that Corey Unlin is going to have a big role as a defensive coordinator next year, and he is going to be a much better defensive coordinator than Paul Pasqualoni. Paul Pasqualoni ran a lot of base coverages, a ton of man. I still think we'll run a lot of man, but, I mean, the other day, Davante Adams came out and said that he knew exactly what coverage the Detroit Lions was running, on every single play. So, Paolo Pasqualoni, his play calling was just so bland, and I think that Corey Unlin is going to spice it up a little bit. He's going to disguise coverages a little bit better. He's going to, just be a better defensive coordinator than Paul Pasqualoni, and, you can say that, the players have to perform, but coaching makes a huge difference in the NFL, and I think Corey Unlin is going to be a gigantic step forward from where Paul Pasqualoni was last season. Moving on to reason number 2, it's the secondary. As I mentioned, we got a brand new secondary this season. We brought in Desmond Trufant, Jeffrey Okudah, Darryl Roberts, Duron Harmon, Jaron Kearse. In undrafted free agency, we brought in 3 undrafted safeties. We brought in so many guys from, college, from free agency. We brought in so much secondary help that this secondary is brand new. Only 2 of the 5 starters are going to be the same from last year. Those guys being the slot cornerback in Justin Coleman and one of the starting safeties, whether that be it free or strong, in Tracy Walker. So this secondary is revamped. It's brand new. We have a high pick in Jeffrey Okudah. We have a proven NFL veteran in Desmond Trufant. Darryl Roberts is going to be our 5th cornerback, and he was a starter last year for the New York Jets. Duron Harmon is a brand new veteran safety that should make much more, that should play much better than what a rookie did last year in Will Harris. And this secondary is going to be much, much better, which is something the Detroit Lions need, as they did have the worst ranked passing defense last season. They brought in so many new guys in the secondary that it has to be better. The third reason that I have is I think the linebackers are going to play much better. Now, as we know, the linebacker play in Detroit has been very lackluster the last couple of years. We've never really had a huge playmaker at linebacker. well, not never, but in the last couple of years, we haven't been making huge plays. We haven't seen huge plays being made from our linebackers, and that is, in my opinion, is going to change this season. Not only is Jared Davis, he's bulked up, he put on a lot of muscle, and it is a contract year, so I think he's going to play out of his mind. I think he's going to do everything in his power to stay on the roster, and in a contract year, guys tend to play better because they're trying to get the next contract. They're trying to get paid, and, with the Detroit Lions declining his fifth-year option, that just gives him more fuel to his fire. He bulked up. He looks really, really good. He has all the physical tools to do it. And now with a guy like Jamie Collins, who I'll talk about later, a guy, Jamie Collins, a veteran coming in to mentor him, who can teach him how to cover, or teach him how to cover a little bit better, because he's never had a veteran presence before to teach him. He came in, he was pretty much the number one guy. Now he has Jamie Collins there to teach him how to cover a little bit better, to teach him some of the more subtle things that NFL linebackers have to do to be successful. And Jared Davis's problem is not his physical gifts. Jared Davis he's a physical freak. He's an athletic monster. He just needs to put together some of that mental part of the game, and he can be an elite linebacker in the NFL. And I think he takes a huge step forward this year with that veteran presence of Jamie Collins and all the work he's put in this offseason. So Jared Davis, I think, is going to take a huge step forward. But another guy that I think takes a huge step forward is Jelani Tavai. He showed a lot of flashes last year. I believe he had like 2 sacks, an interception, a couple passes defended. I mean, he played pretty good in coverage. He's a good rushing linebacker. I mean, he can really do it all. He's a big guy. He hits hard. And in a second year with obviously the same reason, with Jamie Collins coming in to mentor the young linebackers, I think that in year 2, Jelani Tavai takes a huge step forward. He showed a lot of flashes his rookie season, showed that he is worthy of that second round pick, or at least showed that he can be worthy of that second round pick if you don't think he is yet. And, with a veteran presence teaching him some of the minute details, some of the small things that make a big difference, I think that he's going to take a huge step forward also. And then obviously the man himself, Jamie Collins. Not only is he going to be a teacher for these young linebackers, he's going to be a force in this defense. I mean, he's going to be a leader. I would not be surprised if he is a captain in his first year. And I mean, this guy makes plays. He's a leader. He makes plays. I think he had he forced so many turnovers last year, he ended so many drives single-handedly last year. He's going to be a huge playmaker added to this defense. And, he's going to be the first, real playmaking linebacker the Detroit Lions have had in a very long time. And he is going to be so much fun to watch. And he's going to teach all these younger linebackers for the next generation of, Detroit Lions linebackers. So I think the linebacker play will be much, much better next year, especially with a huge playmaker in Jamie Collins coming over to Detroit to not only captain that defense, but also make plays himself. Going on to the fourth reason, there's no more locker room distractions. Quandre Diggs is gone. Darius Slay is gone. Damon Snacks Harris is gone. All the loudmouths that, don't like the way Patricia does things are gone. Everybody in the room right now, everybody in the organization right now buys into Matt Patricia's system. They know what he wants them to do, and they're okay with it. They're going to work hard. They're not going to complain, and they're going to play to the best of their ability for their head coach. I mean, you could say that, whether you agree or disagree with what Darius Slay was saying, whether you agree or disagree with what Snacks was doing, the fact is that if your players don't respect you, if your players don't want to play for you, they're not going to play up to their best. They're not going to be at their best when they're playing on the field. So getting all those locker room, I don't want to say cancers, because they had a difference of opinion on Matt Patricia. And obviously an opinion is not a bad thing, but if your players don't like you, if your players don't want to play as hard as they can for you, then you got to get rid of them. And all those players are gone. Everybody in the building right now has bought into Matt Patricia, and they're going to be doing their best to win for their head coach right now. So I think that actually makes a huge difference in an organization. Getting all the, locker room, getting all the distractions out of the locker room is going to be a huge thing. Moving on to the fifth option. Matt Patricia has his defense. Matt Patricia has all of the guys here that he wants. And just as a stat, just to show how much turnover the Detroit Lions have gone over in the last 2 years, in 2017, between the 2017 starters and the 2020 starters that I believe, or at least in my projection, the 2020 starters, 0 are left starting. Jared Davis is the only player left from that 2017 starting roster that is still even on the roster. And while I think Jared Davis is going to have a big season, I don't know if he'll start every single game. I mean, this defense has had so much turnover that, Matt Patricia now has his guys to coach. And, there are no more excuses for Matt Patricia. And that leads me into my next point, is that their jobs are on the line. Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn are on the hot seat. They need to win now or they're not going to have a job next season. And, that can be said with Corey Unlund too, because he, even though it is his first year defensive coordinator, if we fire Matt Patricia and bring in a new defensive-minded head coach, he's going to want to bring in his coordinators. He's going to want to bring in his defensive coordinator. He might leave the offensive coordinator. Darrell Bevell is probably safe, especially if he puts up another good year with Matthew Stafford and the starters. But, Corey Unlund's job could be in trouble, and he hasn't even coached a snap yet for the Detroit Lions. I mean, all these guys' jobs are in trouble, so they're not going to be holding back. They're going to be throwing everything they can at him to keep their job and remain in the Detroit Lions organization for as long as possible. Moving on to the seventh reason, health. As we know, I've made a video, I've talked about this a lot. The Detroit Lions had so many health issues last year. Only 6 players on the defense last year played in every single game. 4 of those players are still on the team. So, only 4 guys last year that are still on this defense played in every single game. And 1 player is a starter. 1 single player on this entire defense who plays significant snaps and starts football games is still on the roster from last season. So that's crazy. That's, not going to happen again. We're going to have healthier guys this season. We're going to have defensive players that play in every game again. I mean, it's just, there's no possible way the Detroit Lions get any worse in the health category. And I know that's not necessarily something you can always control, but, the odds of the Detroit Lions having injuries like that again are just, they're so small, and it's just not going to happen. The Detroit Lions are going to be much healthier, and their starters are going to be on the field playing for Detroit in 2020. Going on to my 8th point, the Detroit Lions have leaders. Now, they have guys with playoff experience that, have been to Super Bowls, have played in big games, have won big games, and, that's what they've been trying to do. Matt Patricia has been trying to bring in Patriots, not only because they know his system, but because because they've won playoff games. They've won Super Bowls. I mean, Trey Flowers has won 2 Super Bowls. Duron Harmon has won 3. Jamie Collins has won 2. Danny Shelton won a Super Bowl. Reggie Ragland won a Super Bowl. I mean, all these guys have playoff experience, and they're going to share that experience with the young guys. They're going to, if they do make it to the playoffs, when they do play in big games, they're not going to panic. They're going to know what to do in big situations and big time moments. And, that's something the Detroit Lions have not been able to do recently. So bringing in guys that have proven they can win big games, guys that are prepared to win playoff games, have done it before, that's going to add a lot of experience and a lot of veteran leadership in the locker room, which is a big thing for the younger players going forward. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the pass rush improvement. Now, last year, the Detroit Lions were hyped up. They had so many defensive line talent. They had Trey Flowers. They had Snacks Harrison. They had Mike Daniels. I mean, even Romeo Okwara was coming off a 7.5 sack season. I mean, they had so many guys. They had Devon Kennard, who was coming off a 7 sack season. This defensive line was going to be the best in the league. We were going to get pressure on every single play. We didn't even have to blitz. And then the season started. And that didn't happen. The Detroit Lions, I believe, finished 29th in sacks. 29th in sacks last year. They had 28. The defensive line did not perform like they were supposed to. They did not live up to their hype. And this year, they have to do better. I mean, I don't want to say that they're going to do better because they can't do worse. I think they actually brought in some very good pieces to help. And my big guy is Danny Shelton. Now, Danny Shelton is, maybe he's not Snacks in his prime, but he's still very good. Danny Shelton commands double teams and oftentimes actually beats those double teams to still put pressure on the quarterback. And when Snacks was here doing that, commanding double teams and beating those double teams, Romeo Okwara had 7.5 sacks. I mean, just imagine if we had Trey Flowers on that team. Trey Flowers probably gets double-digit sack. He probably gets a double-digit sack season if he's in Detroit when Snacks is playing at his best. And now we have a guy like Trey Flowers. We have a guy like Romeo Okwara who's proven he can get pressures and sacks and quarterback hits. We brought in a very athletic rookie in Julian Okwara who has proven he can get to the quarterback in college. And, I think Danny Shelton makes a huge difference, and this pass rush takes a huge step forward next year because they have that dominant presence in the middle that can beat double teams and forces, the guard in the center to double team that guy. I think Danny Shelton forces double teams, which leaves one-on-one for Trey Flowers, Deshaun Hand, the Okwara brothers, Austin Bryant. I mean, all these guys are going to have 1v1s, and they're going to win. If you leave Trey Flowers on a one-on-one, he's going to win more times than he's not. Julian Okwara is going to win his one-on-ones. Deshaun Hand is going to win his one-on-ones. We haven't seen Austin Bryant play, but in Clemson, he won his one-on-ones. So this defensive line is going to play better next season because Danny Shelton wants to be there. He's going to play as hard as he can. He's not going to be holding out, and he's not going to fall off a cliff like Damon Harrison did last year. So those are my 10 reasons I think the Detroit Lions defense is going to take a huge step forward next season. If you want to see if you want to see an offensive version of this tomorrow, leave a like and a comment down in the comments below letting me know that you want to see that, because I could definitely do that, because I think there's a lot of reasons the offense could take a step forward. Even though they were the strong suit of the Lions last year, they can still improve. Every single position can improve every single year, no matter what they do the year prior. So if you want to see an offensive version of this, I can definitely make that happen. However, I wanted to start with the defense because that was our main concern last season and our main concern going into this season. So if you did enjoy the video, as I said, consider liking the videos and subscribing to the YouTube channel. It takes 2 seconds out of every day to help push it out and grow my YouTube channel, and that means the world to me. But with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. If there is more Lions before tomorrow, I'll obviously make a video letting everybody know. But until then, that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see all of you in the video tomorrow. Bye, guys.